Japan, what are your biggest projects now?
About the creation, we have now two ongoing projects, which one is using the text of Samuel Beckett and Happy Days, and the other is a kind of the research of the Catalan theater, the theater in Catalonia, which in the 16th century. And both are somewhat oriented to European in appearance, but my own creation of Samuel Beckett are somehow our research about Samuel Beckett's accepting of the traditional Japanese theater, especially of the no theater, are somewhat a very big point to create that. Because many European or Irish creator of the Samuel Beckett thinking them in the context of European theater. But as far as we know that Samuel Beckett are very focused to research not about only European, but something in this whole planet. With this, how he creating the very minimal type of the theater, he taking many examples from no theater. With that, we try to make it not as a research, but performance to make it clear.
And what are the Japanese techniques you're going to use about this play?
It's not easy to explain in one word. And also, I always tell, especially to people outside Japan, what I am doing or what we are doing is not directly based something about the traditional Japanese theater. Because our tradition have very deep roots and very strong remaining about the traditional performing arts. And they still keeping their technique, father to son, son to da, and making a kind of the family business. With them, for me, it's not polite to say I also taking that something from them, because their roots are very deep. And for me, outside that family, I try to see something and take it. And also, we try to research about the European theater and take it and making a kind of mixture. So what we are doing is not somewhat Japanese.
And why are you interested exactly in European literature, European history?
Actually, my research about European history is somewhat studied while I'm in university and continues since. And because of the lack of the theater education in Japan, we, especially the contemporary theater practitioners, are not educated in theater department. For example, for me, I'm studying in the Law and Political Science faculty in the history of the political philosophy in Europe. With that, what I measure the reception of the classical literature, Latin and Greek literature into 16th century. There a kind of the formation of the modern governmental system, and with that, unlike other society, European society, especially the formation of the Renaissance period, people thinking about the classical literature of the Latin and Greek very important, and especially the theater literature very important, not as theater, but as part of the modern government system. So this kind of the tendency connecting something politics or society into theater, not as theater only for the entertainment, is somewhat unusual in Europe, I think. Although nowadays we also have many kind of the entertainment type of theater, but still, if we are thinking about the deeper root, there's many remaining of the democratic or republic notion in the tradition of theater. That is something lack in Japan or in any of the East Asian country.
And what is the base of Asian theater in Japan? Let's say, what it is about? As you have talked about European theater, what are the roots of this? What are the major points of the Japanese theater?
Major point. Actually, about the theater and also about the theater literature or the poem in Japan are somewhat very deeply related with the Chinese tradition. And also the contemporary Chinese are somewhat, because of the many reasons, cut from the older tradition. And somehow Japanese theater literature are connected more directly than the contemporary Chinese to the classical Chinese. And also many of the theater literature, especially in no theater, they have the theme which a kind of the Chinese philosophy and also the Chinese reception, a classical Chinese reception of the Buddhism are deeply related to the formation of no theater. And unlike many acceptance of the no theater from outside, no practitioner thinking that what they are doing is not Japanese, but that they are doing is classical Chinese.
Mm-hmm. And can you describe a little bit more this tradition? How does it look like? What does it mean?
It's not easy to explain by words. But, there are so many Buddhism folklore tales, small tales, and also small anecdotes which explain about the philosophy of the Buddhism and also Chinese traditional philosophy. They are making into very small story, which almost all no theater. There's one protagonist and only one supporter. There's almost all no theater are dual. And to make it more impressive, there's a chorus also. But major part of the no theater are a kind of the duo or a kind of the solo performance supported by another smaller. And with this setting, many of the no theater creation are somewhat, this supporting performer are said to be traveling somewhere and reaching to one place. And in that place, there's a kind of the very important legend or a kind of the monument which describing something about the past or something about the relation between China and Japan. And that traveler, supporting performer, are finding out some monument. There's one person coming out. It can be a kind of the ghost, or it can be a kind of the fantastic creature, which is a kind of the representation of the somewhat older something. And with this major one and the supporting traveler are talking each other, and with this discussion, they are finding about the kind of the truth of this society. This almost all no theater are something with this kind of setting.
And about costumes and the visual effects, how is it rich of in the choreography and all of this? How it is?
About I limit only about no theater because there are several other theater traditions which starting after no theater, which the kind of the vulgarization of the no theater. But about the no theater, which is very minimal, and there's stage without normally without any props there. Sometimes only in need very small props appear, but in general there's a kind of the black box theater. And with that place, one performer, which having the mask, that person are the main protagonist, and they are almost always in the center of the stage, not moving so much. But their movement are very small and subtle, and with that movement, there are so many meaning in that. And that is technically because with that mask, that performer cannot see outside. Almost that the blind performance. And with that, they need not to move very aggressively, but they always limit themselves to very small movements. With that small movement, I think are the kind of the characteristic of the Japanese no theater compared with many other physical theater. Because no theater is very physical, but their movement is very small.
And you're going to present Happy Days of Beckett in this way?
Actually, what I'm doing is not taking the kind of the appearance of no theater, but more with the philosophy of the no theater practitioners, which why they are choosing to limit themselves into small movement. Because if I just imitate that small movement, it's a kind of the borrowing of the something which was genuine, a kind of fake no theater. But for me, we are thinking in our creation process about why they are choosing that kind of thing and to continue practicing that and making the form which is now remain. With that, maybe our movement are somewhat quite different, but we try to think about the reason why they choose that.
That will be very interesting to the students here, I think, as a subject. And also you're going to, you have worked with Pina Bausch.
Yes.
And can you tell us more about this, this connaissance?
Yeah, actually, my relation with Pina is somewhat unusual than many other followers of Pina Bausch, because I'm not the person who is practicing the modern dance or the expressionist dance, or I'm not a member of the dance theater Wuppertal, but my relation with Pina is somewhat started with her workshop, and I'm joined as the interpreter. And with that, my first encountering personally with Pina, on the day before, she fired her interpreter, which was provided by Goethe Institute. I think that interpreter, their German language are much better, and they are a professional interpreter. But that person was not professionally theater artist. With that, Pina disliked how the interpreter destroyed the atmosphere of the workshop. And I was asked to do the interpreter, but she also told me about that. So for me, what I might do is not a kind of the interpreting in normal sense, but maybe I choose to be improvising director to present Pina as performer for the audience as a workshop participant. With that, she liked me, and after I also worked together with her as a local informant when she created something in kind of in residence creation in Tokyo. I think she did a similar thing in Istanbul and similar thing in Palermo, and also she created something in Tokyo. And Tokyo version, I was a local performer. And for me, my relation with Pina are somewhat more connected about why Pina is doing that kind of the very huge project, almost destroying the whole modern dance, and to make a new unity of the theater. Because she always telling that theater shouldn't be divided into genres. We don't need to have modern dance, contemporary dance, or we don't need to have the classic ballet, or we don't need to have theater, or the realism theater, or physical theater. We should have a kind of the unity, which maybe the classical Greek people are thinking not something in the smaller genre, but why they are doing to present something on stage. And her project, I think, which is the unfinished project, was something to reunite this kind of the totality of theater in this very divided world of the 20th century. And so I think what I'm always trying to do is not a kind of successor of dance theater, but trying to succeed following this unfinished project which she wanted to do. So that is my relation with Tina.
That's very beautiful, and that's your aim now, and that's what you're doing all over the world. And also, as you have said, you have been the interpreter of this meeting. How many languages do you speak?
So far, no Bulgarian.
No Bulgarian?
Yeah, but because I study about the literature of Catalan and also the French and Italian in the 16th century, I have to learn about that region and also about. But for me, what I'm doing only somewhat more focused in the Western European tradition, and also for me, I have to study more, and I think I have to study more and more about the Eastern Asian tradition, and now I'm thinking about learn more about that also, but so far, I don't know how many, but I can read many European language which is in the Mediterranean world, and also the classical language, also the Latin and Greek and Arabic.
I have seen a long list, so I thought you were really into our history, into the culture of Europe, but also we are very pleased to meet you here and to meet back.
Today what I'm going to do is not about the language, but more about the practical movement. So.
Exactly, yes. Body language.
Yes.
That's it. Thank you very much.
Другата тема, която е, защото той си е сътрудничал с Пина Бауш, но по много по-различен начин от обичайното, което нали, останалите хореографи са си сътрудничили от друга позиция. Той ще сподели за Пина Бауш като, нали, като личност и като творческа личност именно. И третото, което е, ще направи кратко представяне на традиционния японски театър. Това е, което той ще направи. Да ви кажа така, приятна работа, на добър час и това е.
So we'll start, and maybe in the beginning, let's make Sako and sit down. And today we have only 3 hours. And I think 3 hours is almost nothing. And like a friend of mine who coming to our theater creation many times, but he's not artist, saying one time that when somebody coming to my company new and get to know what we are doing or what I am thinking, that person needs 10 years, he said. And I think that's true. And also with that 10 years, what I am always thinking is that if we are doing something for the creation process, it's not only in the studio, but something before coming to studio or after the rehearsal is over, what you normally do also have the very important part of the kind of creation process. And today, I think with this 3 hours, I try to explain not about a kind of practical movement or specific choreography about what I have so far done with my own company, but how I try to tell something about why we are choosing some specific movement, and also why we are not choosing some other things. And so far, what I am speaking is no problem for you to understand, because I don't know about how you can understand it with English or no, or you need interpreter or not, that is something which I don't know before. So far, do you understand?
Yes.
Okay, no problem. And also, today, I take my socks off. Some of you already, and some not. And if I do a similar workshop in India or in Sri Lanka, it doesn't happen like this. And almost all participants are already barefoot. And also, if I do something with the participant more with the classical ballet, almost none of them are coming in the beginning with barefoot. And for our company's image, when we do something, some creation in the very beginning, the best setting for the participants of the creation process or the artists who are coming is to be completely naked. Maybe in the final product, we choose specific costume, or maybe in the final product, we choose something, so many things to put afterwards, but to focus about our body, we starting something with a complete nakedness. But to say something about complete nakedness is very easy. But also, it doesn't mean just taking our clothes off. Because sometimes, in some society, for our acceptance, they are totally naked, but still, like they are painting their body, and with that, for them, it's a kind of a costume. Or some very nice practitioner of the performing arts, they are wearing very large costume, but still they control totally as if it's their body. That means it can be for them a complete nakedness. And about the importance to be naked. In other words, importance not to hide yourself in the back of your specific costume or maybe specific custom also. It's very important. And only that means we are thinking about complete nakedness in the beginning, but it needs many preparation also. And about the costume, what you wear, and if I ask you to be naked in this moment because of this audience, or because of this window, it's what we can see outside. With this, I think it's too much to do. Maybe if we are doing the kind of the creation process with 1 month, maybe you might understand why I'm saying that, and you are willing to do that. But today we met for the first time now, and I don't tell about that. But only I tell, let's do some workshop with your socks off. And this is somehow important because we cannot float and fly always. Somehow we have to connect our body to this floor. This floor is not in the ground floor, so it's not connected with earth, but still it's saying that we are connected with something underneath. We cannot float always. And easiest way of the connecting our body is by foot. Maybe if we lay like this, our position are more stable, but it's not easy to move. And when we jump, because we have to come down afterwards, it's not too unstable. In between this, in most of the case, we touch our ground with this foot more than other part. And with this, I always suggest that it's important to think about in which part you are touching the floor, and also how strongly or how not strongly you are touching this floor. With this, sometimes changing your quality of the body of something far away from your foot, like your fingers. Sometimes do affect. And so I come to workshop in many places, and it's always different with the participant. Sometimes if I talk like this length, many of them are losing concentration already and start talking something. Or sometimes some people are having their question and start asking me something. Or some other case, like now, everybody is just quietly listening to me. And these differences are very important also. Maybe like only her remain and all other are different participants. Maybe because of their difference, she will behave something, some other thing also. Or if you are in the very last of the day, in the evening we have this kind of workshop, your quality of body is also different. And this kind of thing, you don't have to explain about this always, but when you do something and you see around you, try to notice this kind of differences. And what we are going to do today is somehow not about specific choreography, but more about how to explore about your body and also how to explore about something surrounding. And now with this batch of the explanation, we'll start something which is very simple, just walking around. But just walking around, not to the front, but to the back. Okay? And with this, if this room is without any audience, it's much easier to make this room more concentrated. But also, this setting with audience are somewhat important in other hand. Because sometimes, if we are concentrated too much inside workshop, we are forgetting about, we are always showing something to outside. So, all what you are doing today, please think as a kind of improvised show to this audience from the beginning until the end. But sometimes, if you try to show something too much, it's also not interesting for them to see. When you are concentrating to do something, only with that can be something which is very good for them to see. Then, then you are trying to show something. Is that? And please stand up and put your socks somewhere at the side and start walking. And don't try to go to the front. The normal direction is to the back. If you find the wall too near to you, to adjust, you can rotate or you can go to the side. It's also the same. When you are too close to friend view, also you adjust, but normally you walk to the back. And don't hit to the wall, don't hit each other, don't hit to the audience. And you don't have to walk very fast. But if you try to walk very slow or too slow, it is also difficult. So try to find out first the easiest speed to walking around, and then you can go faster and also go slower. And please start. Because of this audience in this side only, and still here large space, and because there's camera, not so many people coming to this area. But now try to use all floor as large as possible, not remaining in one specific position. And also, not that like he is only using this area and she is only using this area, but everybody should walk around as large as possible, but always keep in mind about other person, that try to distribute evenly you in these spaces, so make no empty space. And also, to realize this, although we are going to the back, very important thing is to see. And you don't have to see the direction which you are going to know about the direction you are going. Because if I am standing here and I'm seeing this direction, this, because I think this room cannot change freely the size. This is always like this. And we can expect like this, or after this, if I'm in this side, I can expect how large the other space are. do something with the distributing evenly from the very beginning. But you can try to explore more and more to find out, like when you are here, maybe go straight to the other end, you can understand how many steps you need. Then next time, if you are starting from here, you can see this distance. You can estimate how many more in the back. And with this, if you try to see many times your direction to the back, with this, in appearance, it makes you easier about the back. But if you keep seeing in the front all the time, in the beginning it is a bit difficult, but gradually it became easier for you to know about your back also. And also, if you see too low, this making this area not easy to see. Or if you move so many, it's also making you difficult in the long run. And so it's better to make your chin not too high, not too low, but very freely made, like when you are going to the front. Don't change your quality of your face and head because you are going to the back. I think when you are going to the front, you are not looking back so many times. Just go. And also, when you are going to the front, you are not very stiff in shoulder. This. Maybe there's something very too important. You might be like this, but normally you don't have to. To recover your normal situation of walking, although the direction is not normal. And with this, please continue, and I might explain more. Please start. And also, about the music, I don't move this from other place, so this can be a good information about the direction and where you are. Maybe you are here, music is coming from there. You can easily find out the sound are more coming from your right ear, not so many from your left. And you're in the other side, it can be different. So you don't have to just see, but also this sound can give the information also. Please start. you don't have to always coming near. But you don't have to go back also. Because when I said please stop, maybe in that moment you can check how evenly you are distributed also. And once you said you asked to stop and you just come near to me, with that you lose the chance to check how much more space are somewhere. And also now try to do this walking without any stop. Try to move smoothly, always moving. So don't walk to the back and suddenly stop and thinking about which way you go and rotate and restart again. But try to think about your direction or change of your direction while you are walking. And while you're walking, you decide and go. With this, it's very important for you to know about your participants. And if you stop, it makes others a bit difficult to find out where you are also. If you are moving all the time, gradually you can understand who is there, who is somewhere else. And with this, try to know about others with all your perception. Sometimes it's not a bad smell, but the smell of each body, not about bad or good, just the smell is different. So if you are here, I think if you are well accustomed to your friend here, you can understand who is next to you. And like somebody is. This kind of thing you can also feel with your nose also. And see or listen. Try to use all. And with this, it's easier to make that if your body are not too stiff. And as I told you before about don't make your shoulder too stiff. Sometimes, on purpose, try to make your arm move more. With this, you can make it loose your body, so it makes easier for you to find out about what is surrounding. And sometimes you can make the lower and keep walking also and higher, or many other things you can do. Sometimes you rotate first from your hand, or maybe close, and after you move. So with this, it's not about choreography, but try to make this kind of change on purpose to know about in which part of your body may loosen with that kind of movement. And with this, try to make more freer atmosphere with this participant. And also try to use all part of your foot to the floor, not only like this or not only like this. But sometimes you can use like this and this also. But try to use all part to make your body change your quality. And again, what we are doing is very simple, just walking to the back. And this time, try not to stop, always walking around. And distribute the participant evenly in this space. Please start. So you can see where is more emptier than the other and where is too crowded. And now we'll do, or we'll add one small rule. When you meet each other with eyes, not with 3 or 4, but only with 2 meet each other with eye, and it's better not like this distance, but like this with her, with this kind of the distance, or much better like me and him. When we meet and we notice we meet each other with eye, only in that moment, stop walking to the back or side or rotate, just making a shortest route to the front. Like for example, me and her, when we meet each other, getting nearer and stop in the good distance to shake hands. And again, turn. So when somebody meet each other, only in that moment they are walking to the front. So if you notice somebody is going to the front, that means they are doing some greeting with shaking hands. And all others keep walking to the back and side and rotate. You keep doing, and I don't know where it happened. Shaking hands, shaking hands, shaking hands, somewhere. And if you agree each other, you have to do that. You cannot resist. Okay? Please start. please stop. And always try to check where is empty and where is not empty. And with this, nothing about the movement of the shaking hands are important. But adding this rule, maybe some of you already noticed that when you are going to the back, or your quality of moving to the back and side might change a little with one thing added. And also, we'll add some other thing now, or change the one with the shaking hand. This time, when we meet each other, getting near, important thing is again, where to stop. Making a good distance, but this time not a good distance for shaking hand, but this time kiss in cheek, both sides. And about also same as the shaking hands, I saw some of you are shaking hands like this or some very slow. It differs always, but try to make a kind of greeting with kissing in cheeks in both sides as not too strong one and not too light one. A kind of the very average one. Maybe if you meet somebody like for the first time, your shaking hands are somewhat different with the shaking hand with somebody who is always meeting each other every day and do shaking hands, or the quality of shaking hands can be different if you fight each other last night and meet again in the morning. But try to think about this kind of the difference and make a kind of the most typical or most average way of this time kiss in cheeks. With this, I think it makes the time of doing the greeting shortest. And also, very important thing is where to stop. Like many Japanese people are not accustomed to kiss in cheek as a greeting, not like Portuguese people. So when my friend in Japan are coming to Portugal and they are asked by some lady to kiss in cheeks by greeting, sometimes they are stopped too far. So after they stop, they have to go again, or it's too far like this. Or when they are accustomed to do that, but still they are not well accustomed to do again and again, they are coming too close, and it's too close to do that. So thinking about where is the best distance to stop. And I think shaking hands are much easier than, because if you shaking hands, you can do that. If it's a bit too far, still you can do. And if it's too near, it's also you can do this. But I think there are kind of the good distance to do that also. And this distance are different when you are shaking hands and also when you are kissing. So thinking about which is the good distance. Okay? Yeah. And again, normally you go into the back or side or rotate. And when you meet each other with eye, I think it's better to meet somebody which is very far away. Because with this, you can find a good distance to going to the front, which show others that you are meet each other and doing the greetings. So the movement of going to the back and side is one thing, and doing the greeting, the other, make a larger contrast with this, clearer contrast. So it's better to meet somebody in one end to the other end. And when you are walking to the back or side, don't stop. With this, if you stop, it's not easy for others to find out that you just stopped, or it's some kind of sign to start greeting. So when you're going to the back or side, keep moving, and only when you meet each other, stop and go to the front. And also, in a very good distance, stop. This kind of the clear change of the sequence is very important, not about its beautifulness, but about how you can give the message to others what you are doing. Please start. here very empty this time. And now about greeting, we change, we substitute with other thing. And this time, when we meet each other, getting near, and this time again, important verb is where to stop. This time, the distance is about when you this and this, touch or almost touch. With distance, you stop, but no hands like this. Only like walking from that and stop in this distance and just bow. If it's too close, we bow. If it's too far, we bow. I think everybody cannot notice we are bowing, so it's very easy. Somebody is passing in between us. So making a good distance without any check with your arm, but still good distance is this kind. So it's a bit farther than when you are shaking hands, much farther than when you are kissing, but this distance. So I think more than ever, it's better when you find out some other's eye and meet each other. It's not like this distance. It's much easier if you find somebody in far end and going to the front and stop in one position and go back to the normal movement of the back and side. Okay? And importance is where to stop or the thinking about the best distance. And with doing the greeting with bowing, I think you can think about your average distance about shaking hands or kissing, or if you in this city normally do a different way of greeting, maybe think about your normal way of greeting, not about the movement, but about how distant you are when you are going to greet. And this might affect in some other case, like when we are speaking. Like this distance of bowing is very accustomed to people in Tokyo. So many people in Tokyo are not going very near to like hello or good morning, but they are stopping a bit farther than the good distance of bowing and just say hello or good morning or to greet speech. But I saw if I'm coming to other city, which not so many people are doing the greeting with bowing, they are much more frequently stop in a closer position and say hello. If somebody is saying hello too far, like people in Tokyo, many people think they are not right or they are not want to say something like that. This kind of the distance of the movement are also affecting when you stop, when you are speaking also. And distance are, if we check, of course, person by person, situation by situation, distance change. But a kind of the average distance may differ in a kind of, also it's bowing, but Japanese way of bowing like this, and the Thailand way of the Thai people, Thailand, or the people of Sri Lanka, of the bowing with this hand, the distance may differ. And maybe we don't need to bow, but just stop in a kind of good distance and just stop and go perfect. Audience might expect there was a kind of greeting here. So thinking about distance, where to stop, is very important in this. And with this, it affects how you smoothly walk to the bows. So please do about the walking around to the back and side, rotate, and when you meet each other, getting nearer, this time, only this time, in the shortest way to the front, to meet each other, stop in a good distance, and bow and carry. Beside. Lecture part and the practical part. And also, so far you do this. If you have a question, please ask me. And the question can be something about the detail of what we have done so far, or it can be totally different thing about anything which interests you, or because I don't know what you know about theater in Japan, or I think almost none of you know about what I am created before. So I don't know what I can talk. If I try to explain something, I think it's not fit in 90 minutes. So first, if there's any question, please ask me. Okay.
With these, you're trying to concentrate our energy and mind mine to the others and hers to the others. When we're just walking, we don't feel each other. We think only for the back. Are we going to hit? But you're trying to change the subject. When I have to look at the eyes, I think more for is it there someone that's looking at me, but a little with this, and I feel more the energy and the sound and everything, but not looking. Is it this the?
Yeah. If you experience your experience of walking around is like that, I think what you find is very important, and what I suggest to do today is somehow because of this lack of time, I choose to do something about our body, but try to choose something not about our body alone. Because there's so many other methods or other techniques which trying to concentrate only about what inside you or what kind of the movement you are going to make, as its movement is important. But when we are thinking about our body, how you are related with others, or in which context you are there in that specific space, that also your knowledge about your body and how your body are affected by others. This affecting is with various way of the things affect you. Sometimes only some people getting near to you affect you, or sometimes somebody is talking far away from you may affect your body also. Or as you explained at the word energy, it's not easy to tell what is energy, but at least we cannot explain something which do affect you, but there's something surrounding you, created by some other participant here, or created by maybe something outside. Try to know about all that and relate yourself to that kind of the thing which surrounds you. Is another thing very important. Compare with some kind of the movement of the body if it is alone. And almost we are never alone, maybe. Even if you are in a room alone, because you know there's somebody else outside that room, or many cases there's no complete silence we can experience. There's so many small noise coming out from somewhere else, which sometimes you notice. Normally you don't notice. And with this, try to more focus, your quality of body might change. So I suggest with this, and why I choose to suggest not to walk to the back, not to the front, is just because I think none of you are walking to the back normally. But if you get accustomed to this, maybe you can walk from your house to this academy only with the back. Without getting hit. It can be done because you know where your house is, what is surrounding, and what kind of the bus you are taking or which metro you are taking. You know everything, and maybe if you are going back and forth every day, you know in this time of hour there must be so many crowd here, or there must be nobody here. Or with this sound, it can be the car coming from the back, but this car must be turned left before you meet them. So you cannot meet, so you can continue walking. Maybe if you are accustomed to very well with what you are doing every day, you can do this walking outside also. But still, I think you never do this or you never try, and I think in the future you don't try, I think. But with this, only thing which is not familiar to you, but still it is very simple, so that you can try in this studio to focus more about what is surrounding you. And what I suggest, like, don't stop or try to focus more about when to stop when you're going to greet somebody. This kind of the thing, what I suggest is with this, you try to notice. With this, it makes easier for you to find out about what is surrounding you also. Because when you are going to stop on purpose in the specific point, with that moment, if you get accustomed to doing that, with that moment, you can feel more about others' movement also. Because in that moment, you have to stop in a specific place without hitting each other or hit by others. You have to choose best position also. With this, you are forced to concentrate more. With this kind of setting, not about the beautifulness of the movement, but about the function of the change of movement, like stop or keep moving or many other things, right? How you breathe also, or how you strongly push the floor with your foot. With this, it's all with this kind of the change you make, you can get to know about what is surrounding you. Is this what I answer something to what you asked me, or so? Anything else? Okay, please.
I think something when we hit each other, we build a connection, something kind of another level of communication with eyes, with face, only no words. And I think if we don't see anything, it kind of the same or not the same when we don't see anything. Because I feel my eyes watch inside of me, not the room. It's normal or not to feel something like that?
Yeah, sometimes I do a kind of the workshop, not only about the walking to the back like this time, but making a kind, putting eye mask to everybody, and without seeing, and do the similar thing, and compare that with that is not, your eyes are not covered, and that can give a kind of the comparison also. Or sometimes making pairs, half of the participants are closing the eye or cover eyes, and the other are not covered, and their pairs are shaking hands, and they move together. Or many other settings will change, and with this change, we can find out about the how your body affects with this setting also. Yeah. But if you do these different settings, you also get to know when you are not cover your eye with some eye mask. Sometimes it's very easy for you to see very strongly But sometimes, other time, try on purpose not to make any focus to the direction and making a kind of the obscurity in front of you.
Kind of blur.
Yeah, blur. You don't have to close, but don't try to adjust your focus in specific point. Only with that, you can find out about the kind of the setting without focus too much to your perspective or your sight. And concentrate more with your sound or how you feel with your skin or how you smell. So today, because I don't have no time, so I just suggest about walking to the back and please see strongly to the front, because it's easier to see strongly to the front. Only saying that you are not start seeing to the back. If I allow more freedom that you can change, like seeing strongly, or sometimes you obscure everything, or you do so many other. Because of this freedom, in the beginning, many people choose a kind of the easiest way, which you think that easiest way is going to see the back. But I think some of you already noticed that sometimes you don't have to see to the back, and if you see the back, it makes more difficult about your quality of walking.
You lose the concentration.
Yeah. Very easy to lose concentration by seeing to the back or changing your neck. Only just keeping your neck in one direction, it makes your body much simpler in situation, so that this simplicity makes you easier to concentrate.
Yeah, thank you.
Any other?
Can you tell us more exercises about being aware and about consciousness?
Very difficult question. Yeah. And it's not my image, but image of a kind of the contemporary dance in Japan, which called Buto. I don't know many of you know about this movement or not. And also, especially there's in the group of the Buto movement, there's very simplified the situation. There's two movements which focus more with the founding father of the Buto, which called, his name is called Hijikata Tatsumi, and the other school focusing more to another founding father, or actually this person never called himself as Buto dancer, but because when this dancer started not as teacher, but starting his own performance in late 70s, the first performance, the stage manager was this Hijikata, and he saw the dancer and called he as a kind of the ideal dancer of the Buto. And after that, many the Buto artists and also many people thinking him also as Buto dancer. But this man, his name is Ono Kazuo, never called himself as Buto dancer.
You don't know about it.
He thinks what he is doing is just European modern dance. But this man, especially this Mr. Ono, always saying that try not to divide the time of rehearsal and normal way of living. Make 24 hours a day, 365 days, always thinking as performing. And with this, what he thinks is, I think, very simple. Try to be conscious of what you are doing always. And there is many methods, or there is so many way of making concentration or doing something on purpose. And almost all methods, I think, are somehow to make a kind of the shortcut to being a kind of the average performer. But what this kind of the crazy man called Mr. Ono thinking, he trying to get rid of all methods and just think if he try to keep that in mind always for himself, if he is always conscious that he is performing 24 hours a day, even when he's sleeping, this makes him a good concentration about their body. And I think this doesn't tell anything. But still, I think because this kind of the school having a very good menu of a shortcut way of the doing something, and always thinking that the kind of the image of Onokazo that we should perform 24 hours, or we should concentrate, or we should do something on purpose on 24 hours a day. That can be helpful to compare or to think about deeper what you learn in this kind of school about specific methods. Because all methods are somehow know about doing something 24 hours a day is too difficult. But too difficult it is, but still we should try to do that. And if this image you keep in mind, how you think or understand about each method makes it better, I think.
Thank you.
Is this answers you something about what you asked me, or okay? And also, today I try to suggest to keep moving, because I know many of the theater method or dance method are the method to stop or to stop properly. So to think about that more deeper, I think it can be better to have an experience not to stop. And also, like the Buto dance of the Onokazo's type, or like no theater, which is the 14th century started Japanese traditional performing arts. Many of the Japanese theater performance or the performing arts are somehow choosing to getting less the performer and making larger the space. But I talk with many no theater practitioners, or I talk with many very good dancers from Ono's school. They all telling, although they are moving in a very large space alone, how they realize to move is their experience of communicate with others in other occasions. If they cannot bringing in some of their experience or their image of somebody is being near to you, this empty space is only empty space always. And to begin, sometimes it is too difficult to be alone on stage or too difficult alone in studio. But many people get together and moving around all the time to get to know more about somebody is getting near and somebody is getting far away. This kind of the near and away, again and again, can be a good information for you in other occasions about you are creating your own solo piece.
Can you tell us what you think are the most important things when you perform?
what is most important thing when we perform. For me, maybe to compare with a kind of another strong way and stream of the theater performance. For me, most important thing when we perform is to realize that we are performing. Because I know some other school or some other method, of the performing, try to be somebody and try to just doing something, not to remain your own consciousness that you are now that you are on stage. Maybe making the stage as something, as a kind of the same as the society outside of you, making a kind of the new society there and live in that. With that, some performer trying to forget or trying to get rid of understanding about that you are on that moment performing. But for me, so far, maybe I might change my idea in some other time, but so far, for these 10, 20, 30 years I'm doing something, I always having a kind of the trouble with understanding that kind of method. That the performer try to forget they are doing is not something of just mere living, but they are performing. For me, stage is just stage. And although on that stage we have some kind of the story going on, that story is also have some position in our own society. So that is my very personal image about performing out at the theater. Most important thing is that you should conscious about what you are doing. Do you want to do something more about the practical movement, or do you want to do the discussion or the talk?
Practical.
Okay. That was what I wanted to do. So. Then now we'll do something different from what we did before about walking. Now starting with him and her. And now we are playing again and again short music. First starting with them. Choose you or you without talking, but one is somewhat leading and the other is somewhat following. And using this whole space inside all room. And we're starting from this. But in the end, when you choose somebody to start, after that, when somebody, one of you remain and the other is sit as others, and another one coming, and after that, like if she remain, you sit somewhere, and next music she will do something with one another person, and
she will sit in the end of the next music, the other one doing something with others. And while doing that, when you sit, try to change this situation in circles, to spread evenly in this space gradually. And this whole room are somewhat your stage. And also, who is sitting here, you can use their body not as the performer. Only performer are two at the time, but you can use, if you need it, as a kind of the stage setting for what you are doing. And maybe I will add some other information later, but only with this, try to do something. I think the first one can be the most difficult one to do this. But to use whole music, in the very beginning, make a clear start, and in the end, make clear ending. And while you are doing something in the music, in one music, you should make agreement who is going to do for the next music. And also choose somebody who is going to do and in. Do you understand?
Do we touch the person that we choose, or do we touch the person that we choose?
You can touch, or you can do some other thing to pass the information.
Is it like dance or doesn't matter, the movements?
That question can be very difficult because there's many aspects of things. So, first try to do something, but think about other participants and choose your movement which compare with this group of participants which you can do more than others. Making your movement somewhat more specially for yours. If what you are doing is also others can do, try not to do that, but instead try to do something which only you can do. But I don't know how you know well about others, so we'll switch person by person or pair by pair, and we do many times. So whenever you try to think about what to do, try to adjust with this kind of the image. So about this, not about the specific movement or the specific dance within the music is important, but showing what you do and accepting what other pairs are doing to find out about your own characteristics about your body. Do you understand?
Yes.
Okay. I think it's better not to go.
Елате насам, после всеки, който спира, трябва да спира някъде и накрая да сме позиционирани навсякъде и това. Да не сме още накрая и сме пръснати. Да няма правда пространство.
И то не е след като всички.
Да, но аз като избера някой, трябва да седна, примерно тук, другия трябва да седне там, третия там, четвъртия там, примерно. И накрая, когато последния спре, сме не знам, защото да се наместа къде се да няма малко да запълваме.
Да,
Okay.
you know this before or not. So if you listen to one music for the first time, it can be easily sometimes mistook where is the end is. So don't afraid of making mistake also, but still try to think about using this whole music from beginning to the end. And while you are doing something, like if you do choose her as somebody to start for next one, it doesn't have to be the only very end you choose them, but you can choose in any moment during the music. And also, with this, like during what you are doing, some like he or it changing a little your position. If you think that is okay, you should make that more clear that they should move a little. Or if you want them to stay in that position, you should give a good sign that they should stay. And also, like when she is coming in the very beginning from here, try to make clearer why you choose here other than here or other than here. And sometimes it's very good to ignore them totally and just go in. But some other case, it's very important to make some communication and go in, or not making communication, but still you can show the importance why you are choosing to pass this place. And it's this, if you try to make clearer what you are doing or how you use this space, you can give the information to your partner what you want to do or what you want your partner to do. And this kind of passing the information doesn't have to be like, okay, you should sit down there, or in next full count you should sit down, or you run, or you don't have to explain my speech. But if you try to make more precise about your space, only with this you can get the information also. And so she will start, and also which one? Okay.
Фактически можем в средата на музиката да изберем някой, той накрая на музиката трябва да започне.
Трябва да
Започне.
Аз разбрах, че през цялото време...
През цялата музика сме двамата, обаче тя може примерно да намигне на някой или да кивне или да... по време на музика.
the posture is, that is not so important. But trying to use your body, or trying to use the movement which is familiar to you in the different context, to try that movement to how you give the information what you want to do, or give the information what this space should be. And also, you don't have to only use them sit on floor, but you can also use them. But sometimes, some people who is more outside are not ready to do something. So you also need to make agreement. And that agreement sometimes should be very proper agreement, which only when that person are agreed to do something or willing to do something and join. But sometimes use that person as not willing to get involved, but still you want to